4 years ago this weekend, this congregation ordained me as a minister in the Unitarian Universalist religious tradition. Thank you. Thank you for doing that then and for this now, this moment. It was a day of celebrating unabashed joy and also excellence. Excellence in preaching, singing, music. We even had a dance flash mob. Do you remember that? Some of liberal religion's finest preachers flew in to preach sermons, to lead ritual, to charge the congregation and the minister. And at the end of an ordination ceremony, the ordained minister, who hasn't spoken the entire time, then gives the benediction, the final blessing. Do you remember what I said? Does anybody remember what I said as we all held hands? You don't have to say it right now, but as we all held hands that day, I asked for spirit and for community to bless me at my worst, to bless the disappointing outcome, the missed opportunity, the thing that just didn't go very well. You see, I harbored this secret, or maybe not so secret, idea that ministry was winnable. That someone would be giving out medals and trophies for best ministry, and I could someday be best at church. Encountering my own limitations was my greatest spiritual challenge. Honestly, it still is my greatest spiritual challenge. And so I wanted to ask for your blessing, to bless not just the successes, but also the failures, the disappointments, the struggles, and the times when all of us as a congregation would have to face our own shortcomings. The world won't teach us this, but the truth is, our limitations are sacred. They are holy. Our limitations are holy because our limitations make us real. And anyways, faith is not the assurance that everything will work out. Faith is holding out the possibility for change and healing. I'm going to say that again. Faith is holding out the possibility for change and healing. This is Buddhist meditation teacher Sharon Salzberg's wisdom, her definition of faith. And this is the definition of faith that I would like for us to explore today. Because what does it mean for everything to work out anyway? I mean, work out for whom? For only me? For only you? For all of us? Jessica Blinkhorn has been our artist in residence for a few months now. She curated the show you'll see out in the Pilgrim Gallery, Wild and Holy, Figuring It Out. And throughout this sermon, we will see some of Jessica's original work, her drawings, paintings, and her performance art. She is an incredible performance artist. And Jessica and the congregation, me, staff, and leaders, we have made beautiful plans together in these months. And we have challenged each other, and we have been challenged. We have not always agreed, but we have found healing through encountering Jessica's power. Jessica's presence is powerful and unique. Her art, her many gifts, and her limitations. We had wanted Jessica to be here this morning, but there were various complications that did not allow that to be possible. But we have encountered her, and we have been changed for good. And today, I think we must reconcile with some of our own limitations as a congregation. If you look around this room, and you can feel free to do so, you may find that not everyone is here. Not all of our spectacular, gorgeous, beautiful congregants can be counted as present here in this room. For in late pandemic, as many of us were struggling with disconnection, with the pain of isolation and trouble hearing each other and seeing each other due to masks, others of us are simply unable to be present in this sanctuary while most of us gather unmasked, even now. And it is true, this is why we put so many resources, so much energy into our live stream worship to make sure everyone who stays home still feels connected to us, still feels included in this powerful circle. I'm thinking of John out there. Are you watching? I'm thinking of Susan, Allegra, and so many more. And we are better with you here. We miss you. We long for you to be with us in person. Yet, we have made some decisions that make your physical presence difficult. This is a challenging tension to hold. We hope you out there feel blessed by the excellence of our live stream worship and our small group ministries and our outdoor justice events. We feel your blessing when we give away the plates at Allegra's insistence, when we greet each other with loving warmth like Susan Leffler always does, when we eat John Bolton's famous nut bread. We gather imperfectly, and that is a tension for us all. Yet, when Jessica Blinkhorn, our fabulous, stunning artist in residence who lives with disabilities, first entered this building, that's her. When she first entered this building, she said these words. She said, "Before you even knew me, you welcomed me." She said this is one of the most accessible spaces she has ever encountered. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. To create a worship space that is welcoming for people with disabilities, with hearing loss, with blindness, with other different needs, that is the work of Radical Welcome. It is the work of a lifetime, and it is the work of our faith. It calls upon us to live radically into our first UU principle, the one that demands we honor the worth and dignity of every person. And in a world that encourages us to overcome our differences, it is a radical act of reversal to encourage society to overcome its insistence on sameness. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we talk a lot about the interdependent web of existence. That's our 7th UU principle. But in practice, in truth, I notice in us, I'm going to include me in this, I notice in many of us an American insistence on apologizing for having needs. If no one has expressed needs, then how are we supposed to fulfill our holy call to interdependence? I mean, how? The concept of interdependence is grounded in the truth that all people have needs, that none of us can get through this world solely on our own. Therefore, it also means that having needs is not weak, nor bad, nor shameful. And in the disability justice community, this interdependence often takes the form of care webs. That is, care webs of people who, when you are feeling well, you can care more for someone else. When you are feeling down, you ask someone else to care for you. Because this is our faith home. This is the place where we can come, and sometimes you come dressed up to the nines. Sometimes you are showing out. Sometimes we are our best selves here. And on those days, we are great at holding boundaries, at offering others praise, at saying all the right and most welcoming things to each other. We're our best selves some days. And this is our faith home. This is also the place where we can come when we aren't feeling so good, when we couldn't find any unwrinkled clothes. We may come angry or hurting or full of skepticism. We may come here exhausted. And on those days, we never really seem to say the right thing. We mess up and all of our interactions are tainted with pettiness or insecurity. But through care webs, the networks of care are strong enough to hold us up when we are struggling and when we have needs, and strong enough to hold us up when we are able to lead with energy, and that energy is truly authentic. And those care webs are not static, they are dynamic. I always make this sign, the figure 8. The truth is, at some time in our lives, 80% of us will find ourselves disabled to the point where we cannot easily escape a fire in a building. It may be a temporary or a permanent condition. Many of us do struggle with the world on a daily basis. Either we are struggling with executive function or attention deficit or not understanding social cues or cognition or various needs that require someone's accommodation. But feels better to be the person who can offer help because that puts you in a position of power over the other person. And so what I wish for us is, may this be the community where we truly practice interdependence, where we ask for what we need, and we serve each other's needs, and then we might trust that our own need will not meet rejection, that there is enough for all of us. At this time, I would like to introduce you to Jessica Blinkhorn. Due to some limitations of illness and caregiver support, Jessica was unable to be physically present with us this morning. We hope you will meet her, come back to UCA and meet her this Friday, May 12th at 7 p.m. at the Wild and Holy Art Party. That's sort of the art opening for our gallery show. We asked Jessica to make a video introducing herself and her gallery show to us. Here it is.
What does it mean to bloom? Beyond the edge of society, let us venture out into the wild. Beyond our soul's map, beyond the silver lining, there is an ever-shrinking wilderness. Find yourself there. We are evolutionary creatures. We are constantly changing and questioning, and navigating through a tumultuous landscape. We seemingly wait for the approval to bloom. Welcome to Sunday service. My name is Jessica Elaine Blinkhorn, and I am the curator for this year's Figuring It Out show here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. Thank you for having me. I wanted to come on and just kind of tell you a little bit about myself and about why I came up with the idea for Figuring It Out as the theme of the show, and how that fits into Wild and Holy. As a disabled female or just an individual with a disability living in a society where we're really, unfortunately, judged by the way we appear on the outside rather than the caliber of our character on the inside, I always felt like I had to apologize for being disabled, escape disability, outrun it as if I could run anywhere. But you don't overcome disability. It simply is who you are. It's part of you. The same way someone who is born trans, they don't feel like they're born in the right body. And they spend their life trying to find out who they are, where they belong. Or someone who's non-binary who feels like they may be balanced between both genders. We spend our entire life trying to figure out who we are, not based on the fact that we don't know who we are, but based on the fact that who we know we are doesn't really fit into the fabric of the way society has a human being laid out. I've always been told not to judge people, but I see judgment every single day of my life. I was always told that God doesn't make mistakes, but here I am being told through media and conversation and snap judgments by onlookers that I am not normal, that I am a mistake. But in acknowledging those words, I used that as fodder to the fire to push me and help me figure myself out. I knew that I didn't want to be those people that were calling me these names. And I knew I didn't want to have a conversation with them or be a part of their club. But I also knew that I wanted to give them an opportunity to change themselves by being an ever-flowing entity. I wanted to be someone that could be there in one place and be an example, be a tool to educate. And that's what this show is really about, is giving people the opportunity to feel comfortable in their own skin and wear it with strength and pride. Even more so, to allow other people to acknowledge that presence. Because I don't think that we ever truly have acceptance without acknowledgement. Everyone has a story. And those stories can be wild and holy. Those stories can be long and sad, long and happy, short and magnificent. But everyone has a story. And we're here to figure that story out together. Thank you.
So Jessica's art, this is one of her performance pieces where she was in a bed in a public place and invited people to just come to her bedside and ask her anything. Jessica's art invites you into her life to face her life and her body, because she stays grounded in her body as she figures it all out. She has many tattoos. My favorite one is the one that says, "Grounded by reality," in pretty large letters. She figures it out through persistent ingenuity, unimaginable courage, and awe-inspiring power. Jessica's presence is formidable, and it has been a journey into authenticity to witness her negotiate the terrain of life and to join her for a little while on that bad road. I leave us with a blessing for our holy limitations, because they bring us closer together. Our holy limitations bring us closer together. We have been through a lot. We've been through a pandemic. We're still going through it, a public health crisis which has abandoned entire communities of disabled people and elderly people. And upon our return to each other, the truth is that many of us have re-entered public life with greater needs, with different and new physical or cognitive issues. And so I want to invite us into that very same blessing I asked of you 4 years ago. Can you bless not just each other's resilience and achievements, but can you bless each other's limitations, your struggles, your vulnerabilities? To be interdependent is to reveal our limitations to one another, to ask for help rather than to simply always offer it, and to weave a web of care so strong it can lift us all up so that all are cared for and all are in their authentic power, so we can all keep faith in the glorious, authentic web of care we weave, bringing healing not only to ourselves but to the entire world. Amen. May it be so.